Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. Chodesh Tov. The month of Adar, we're learning Le'elu Nishmas Levi ben Yosef, Bas Yefega Bas Yisrael, Yishaya Shalom ben Yitzchak Isaac, Levi Yitzchak ben Yerucham Chanan Zalman, and for the Shmira, protection of our Chayalim HaKadoshim, and for the Refuah Shlema of David Netanel ben Ayala Ahuva, for the Refuah Shlema of Tov Shmuel ben Avia, Nava, ve'Avram Yaakov ben Dvora Fega. The week is sponsored by Sarah and Yeshua Amen in memory of the Bubbies, Charna Bas Yaakov Moshe Alevi, Esther Bas Rafael, and Toiba Zelda Bar Zev. All right, we began last week learning from Rabbi Nachman, from Rav Nosson, getting really, really deep with the concept of Emes, of truth. What we spoke about last week is that Ashrei the person, praiseworthy is the person who's able once in their life to say one dibur shel emet, that an actual word of truth comes out of our mouth before Hashem. What does that mean? I mean, we'd have to go back through all of last week's shir. But it's almost like you know when you know. You know when you're there. When you're there, you know you're there. That the words that come out of your mouth, adiburim shel kedusha, they are the only things that provide a safe passage through the gesher tsar me'od, through the narrow bridge that this world is. And that's what Rebbe Nosson had called the name of this narrow bridge, that when a person is speaking diburim shel emet, and it's really words of truth that's emanating from the soul, spoken to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which means that we do have to revisit the whole world of hitbodedut, for real, for pnimi, really deep inside, and we're going to get there. These are the things in life that bring a person to the closest state of tranquility and peace as much as possible, which we all long for. We all long to live in a world that we feel we have access to tranquility, to shalvat hanefesh, to the serenity of the soul. In Reb Nachman's invite to us, the ability to have words of emet come out of our mouth, not just words that we think Hashem wants to hear, but that which is actually taking place inside of us and expressing that to Hashem. That's the closest a person will feel to having peace. Now, this doesn't mean that it solves your issues. It just means that your issues can then be solved with tranquility and with peace. It's not this, okay, I spoke words of truth, all my problems are gone. It just means that when I'm not connected to the midah of emet and my problems are in front of me, it seems like the biggest mountain in the world that's impossible to ever overcome. And when I tune into the midah of Emes, of emet, what then becomes available to me is to approach the same thing that one time looked like a mountain that was impossible to conquer, and suddenly I feel, wait a second. I could do this. I've done it before. I'm going to do it again. And it doesn't stir me. It doesn't paralyze me. And this midah of emet is something that no one in today's day and age could afford to say, well, I'll work on other things. Emet, I'm not so sure I'll get to. And this time around, it doesn't work like that. It means that on all of us, it's mamash, it's not a luxury, it's a must to tune more and more into understanding this midah of emet, because when I am really operating from a place of truth, or at least mechaven to the truth, everything gets put in its place. Suddenly life begins to have a seder. And chaos has less and less of a hold on my life. Tohu is less the way that I conduct my life. Today, what we're going to be getting a tremendous amount of chizuk and a warning from Rav Nosson about these inyanim. So, if you, the page in front of you,
tohu, like tohu vavohu, confusion.
Yeah, tohu. That's where it comes from, like chaos. Yeah, bidiyuk. So, if you can go down to please ot bet in the page that you have in front of you. This is from Likutei Halachos, Ilchos Birkas Hareiyah Halacha Hey. Mi shekavanato el ha'emet, Whoever goes out into the world, but their kavana is to really be people of truth. וחוגר עצמו למלחמה בשביל האמת. And you, the word choger is like to gird yourself, right? Is that a right word? Yeah? G-I-O. Sure? וחוגר עצמו למלחמה, and I'm going out to war like that. בשביל האמת, Rav Nosson says, hu menatzeach tamid. You're always victorious, but we have to define victory. But you're always victorious. כי כל מה שעושה איזה עובדה לצורך מלחמת מצווה זו, הוא מנצח בזה מיד. He calls the war against Cheker a מלחמת mitzvah. And he says, whenever a person engages in this war, and he's going out in the name and with the kavanah of truth, you always win, which we have to understand what that means. Because your kavanah is really l'shem shamayim. You see, a person has to be willing to, when you go out in the name of war, of truth, over truth, a person obviously needs to be open to the fact, to the possibility, that that which you were sure is truth because it made sense to you and it made you feel comfortable about life's decisions, you have to be open, for real, to the notion that yesh matzav, it could be that I was wrong. It could be. It could be that my projection, it could be that all the assumptions that I had and everything that I built, almost, I would say, like even things that I built, like it could be yesh matzav that maybe, it could be that I was off. But if I'm going, saying HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm going with this, I'm going into this milchemes Yetzer, and I don't care at all whether my assumptions about my emet, about life, about you, I don't care if they were right or wrong. I just want to know what the Emes is. You win. You're already a winner right away, immediately. But if I go and I see I'm going to this world of emet in order to feel justified, validified, in order to feel better about my life's decisions that I've made and my assumptions about other people, that's not called kivu, that's not called emet, and it doesn't mean you're going to be victorious either. Al ken, we're on the fourth line. Does everyone has papers? Do we need more? We have. Al ken. Af im eino zoche lenatzeach hamilchama b'shleimus. Nonetheless, even if you weren't able to completely conquer the war over the Cheker, but you tried so hard l'shem shamayim, אף על פי כן, בזה בעצמו שאוחז הכלי מלחמה בידו ללחום נגד שונא השם, שהם היצר רע וחיל יוסיו, but your weapon in your hand is still in your hand, and that weapon is the weapon of emet. Nonetheless, בזה בעצמו הוא נקרא כבר מנצח. You're already called, you're already considered, you're already labeled someone that is victorious, even if you didn't finish the job, which is a big Yetzer Hara. A big Yetzer Hara. Let me ask you a question. A person that sets a goal to learn, to finish the Shas, and it takes approximately 7.5 years to finish it in Daf Yomi. Do you know the Yetzer Hara over there? Wow. You could learn kimat every day, but you missed maybe like 10 blat over the years. Somehow you missed 10 dapim of Gemara. Or whatever it is, you missed whatever, something. The Yetzer Hara will come and tell you, you did not learn Shas. What are you talking about? I learned kimat everything. Yeah, but you didn't finish the job. That means you're not really victorious. Rav Nosson is saying, listen, when it comes to the stuff with Emes, and this is a constant repeated line in Rav Nosson, a little bit is also good, if it's emet. A little bit, not just is a little bit also good, but a little bit already puts you into the category of someone that is a menatzach, someone that wins. And the Yetzer Hara does not, and Western civilization does not, and culture does not want us to buy that. It's all or nothing. You either did complete the marathon, or you never started it. That's what the Yetzer is coming to tell us. You either were matzliach in giving over to your child the principles of Yiddishkeit that you know are emet, that you want to give over to your children, or they're completely off the derech. The Yetzer wants you to mamish look at that and buy that. But emet means I'm going to give this my all. Tchila hishtadlus sofa matana. I'm going to try as much as I can to give over to my children what I believe the emet is. To the extent that their ability to receive it and do something with that in their life, I have to know that I'm victorious because I know that I went out and I gave it my all in the name of emet, hopefully. What happens afterwards? But don't let anyone tell you that that means that you're not victorious. You're victorious if you go out to fight the world with the weapon of emet in your hand. You're already victorious. And ניצחת. You already won. בזה בעצמו נקרא כבר מנצח. Now, this is a very important line here. כי כל עובדה ותנועה קלה, any movement, even a light movement, שהאדם מתגבר בשביל לעשות רצונו יתברך שמו, that a person overcomes and puts their koach into doing for Hashem, הוא יקר מאוד בעיני השם יתברך, is very precious in Hashem's eyes. ותכף הוא מנצח הרבה, and immediately you win. I'm going to ask you something. Anyone have anyone have a victory this morning? Anyone feel like they had no victories this morning? Does anyone here feel that they have no victories? Oh, sorry, I didn't see you. Welcome. Good to see you. Mazel tov. Does anyone here feel like they had no victories today? It's okay to say so. Huh? Besides the fact that God decided to put your neshama back into your body, I'm talking about als bechira, from your own choice. Does anyone here feel that today they were not victorious so far? You chose in the midst of insanity to come and learn Rabbi Nachman's Torahs. What do you think we're talking about in here? This is exactly how the Yetzer Hara works. But we didn't finish the shir. It's only a few minutes. Rega. Kol uvda utnu'a kala. Any small movement towards emet. Towards emet is so precious in the eyes of Hashem. It's these basic tenets of faith that we need to reinstill into our psyche, into our heart. It has to be. We have to go back to the basics. Now, some people would say, if you keep on getting really excited about a lot of small stuff, you'll never get to eventually go to the big stuff. Cheker, calling that out. I would say afuch. If you keep on keeping if the prize for you, meaning, and you say keep your eye on the prize, is the full conquering of emet and becoming a completely disciplined and perfect faith person that knows how to meditate, that knows how to smile when things are right, that knows how to be calm and patient with every single person, you're the biggest loser in the world. Because no one ever gets there like that. And even if you touch that for a second, you'll crash very hard. The klal, when it comes to emet, is that every uvda utnu'a kala, any small movement towards the Ribono Shel Olam, fighting the war of lies, but living with emet, hu yakar me'od beinei Hashem yitbarach, is so precious in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's amazing that Rabbi Nachman and Rav Nosson had to really emphasize this over and over again. But when you think about Jewish history, and especially what was going on in the world of Judaism at their time, it was crucial for them to reintroduce tenets of faith that we knew were very much chai v'kayim many years ago. But it's infinitely more shayach for our door than it even was for their door. Because today we're all about accomplishments. It's more doing and finishing and conquering. Emet means, I know that I'm moving towards you, Hashem. This is precious in your eyes. Give me a koach to move a bit more towards you. Rav Nosson says, ding, 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 we have a winner. Mamish. We have a winner. At that moment, you have a winner. You're a winner. That's a menatzeach. You won. You won for the moment. Turn the page. This is a ניצחון אמיתי ונצחי. This moment of truth, this is emet, a real victory, and it's eternal. כי רק זה עיקר הניצחון האמיתי. This is the ikar of what a real victory means. כי זה הניצחון יישאר קיים לנצח. Because this victory lasts forever. Why does this victory last forever? So here he quotes the famous statement from the Zohar HaKodesh. This type of victory, even if it was a small thing, lasts forever. Ki leit reuta tava deit aved. In Aramaic, that means, late means there isn't. Reuta means ratzon. Tava means tov. Deit aved means that shene'ebad, that gets lost. Because there's no such thing as a good ratzon that ever gets lost. Here, I'm going to take it from the Sefer. I have another page here. I'm going to look inside here.
How could you say it's forever if we're really told like that we have to keep working on our emunah, that it's not something we accomplish and it's done? So how can it be forever?
What's the contradiction? That moment lasts forever.
Oh, that moment.
Yeah, it doesn't mean, Zil, you're fixed, you're done. It means that moment of getting a sense of what it means to be victorious, meaning that I chose Emet, that I chose to live a life of Emet just for the moment. Like this moment that you chose to, like after doing all the Avodas HaKodesh that I'm sure many of you did at home with your children, and even if not with your children, davening, whatever it is you had to do to get up and get yourself together and come out and learn on a Thursday morning in Chodesh Adar. And you're not coming here to get this is not like cute stuff. This is like Reb Nachman. This is avoda. That fact is a ניצחון emet אמיתי ונצחי, in the words of Rav Nosson. Now, on a time level, you can get sucked into a problem. Well, does that mean that that's it? I won for Ebna, I'm happy to. Because how do you know if the ניצחון was emet or nitzchi? If you don't feel, I want you to fill in the blank. How do you know that the moment is a moment of real, eternal, and true victory? What would that lead you to feel? Or what shouldn't that lead you to feel?
Regret.
Sorry? Regret. What else?
Leads you to want to do more.
So this is very ikar yesod. I know that it's a moment of emet if I can't get enough of it. If I feel good and satiated and I'm good for the day, that wasn't good. That was not emet. It definitely wasn't emet la'amito. So if you had a good hour at 9, and by 9:45 you're like, I think for today I'm good. Binge watching Here I Come. It can't be that was emet. It could be it was nice, but ניצחון of emet probably wasn't. It's the same thing with a child. Imagine you have over Shabbos there was one moment during Friday night that there wasn't chaos in the house, or I don't know. And it was one good nigun, one good zemer was sung at the Shabbos table. So imagine you did one zemer, and you're like, wow, Hashem, I tasted the Emes and Nitzchis. Everyone, including myself, should really just be in Shabbos and not care about what anything else happens. Ze lo emet la'amito. That's not really Emes. Emes is this invitation to more and more and more of, well, where else could I be real? Where else could I find a place to be real? I'll give it to you an example that is very shaykh to everyone. I'm not singling anyone out in here, but I think everyone. At a certain point in life, I don't know what age this happens, and I don't know what setting it happens, but at a certain point in life, a person realizes that they're not really themselves in social settings. At a certain point, you realize the shul I go to, the people that are around me, not shul, just shul because we hang out a lot in shul, but whatever it is, that setting that I go to because I know it. I know the people there is there. But at a certain point, I start wondering, am I really showing up to this thing, or is this image of who I already think I am, based on who they think I am, is that the person that's showing up here? And then the questions of, and what would happen if the real me would walk into the room? Would I burn everyone to the ground? Would I make everyone, including myself, feel uncomfortable? And all these different types of things. So the Emet comes and tells you, go in there and burn everyone to the ground. Just unleash the real you, but you don't even know who the real you is. You just know that this isn't. The person has to be someone that's mevakesh emet. It's not enough to just know what you're not. You have to know what you are. It's not just enough to puzzle, to say that's not it. So a moment of turning to Hashem and saying, I want the real me to be the person that I'm connecting with and that I'm operating from and that shows up in a place, Hashem, I just want that to be the person that shows up. Rav Nosson says, that's a ניצחון, but you didn't do it yet. Doesn't matter, that's what you asked for. That's what you moved towards. That's a tnu'a kala. That's a precious small movement towards the emet, and that bakasha and that ratzon, amiti v'nitzchi, and lasts forever. Because he bases this on what the Zohar just told us. Eleit reusa tava des avid. There's no bad ratzon. When a person has a bad ratzon, there's no such thing as a bad ratzon that ever gets lost. Ever. It's there forever. So far, so good? Okay. But now there's a danger. There's a danger on this journey. And this is something that is very important to speak about already now in the beginning, and I'm happy that we're doing this already right now. Tell me something. The more Chassidus you learn, the better you feel, the worse you feel. The more Pnimiyus HaTorah, the better you feel, the we're let's be emet.
At first, not so good, and then better.
And then not so good, and then better. Why not so good in the beginning?
Because you realize how it's a little bit daunting how much you have, how much you want to then accomplish. So it can feel like, oh, I haven't gotten there yet. But so I think it's fair to...
1,000,000%. I mean, that's the right answer. Meaning a person that says, I learn more Pnimiyus HaTorah, oh my God, I'm just this gets me so high. Yesh bo there's something lacking over here, because the beginning of a movement towards when my soul is really moving towards the Ribono Shel Olam, my life is getting a shape towards Hashem. It's not there to make you feel bad or guilty, but it's there to give you a really strong gut check of saying, how much have you been really real with yourself up until now in life? Now, rarely are there people that can come and say, no, I've been raw, my friends they know this, I'm just real all the time, and I don't have that issue. I'm ready for the light, right? There are people like this, by the way. It's not like it doesn't exist. But a person that's really like that would never say that about themselves.
Real can be bad. Sometimes you get in trouble with the real you. So there's, you know what I mean? The real you without Emes and checking in.
Wait. What's the real you without Emes? What does that mean?
People are very real, but then
we have to define this for a second. This is very interesting. A lot of people are very real,
right,
but they're not emet.
Yeah.
So what does that mean?
That means you could say something that might offend someone.
That's real?
For you it is. But
Why? Why?
But you're not, your MS isn't refined totally. So you're not thinking, am I going to embarrass this person? Am I going to this? I'm going to that. I'm going to do. You're not going through 70 different checks in your head before you open your mouth.
Right. So is that called emet?
You're real. Well, so you're saying real.
It's good. It's good what you're saying. It's good. You're leading us to a great place. Why is that called emet?
I'm saying it's your emet where you're at right now.
Really? It's your emet?
Where you're at right now.
It's not necessarily your emet. It's what you're. It may be what.
It's your unrefined.
It's where you're holding.
But
so
that means that everything in life is emet, and it's just unrefined. Is that what you're saying?
Listen, I think if you function in a society where everyone's responsible for the other person, and you are yourself, there are people who just walk away and be like, I don't like that person. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who will say, what you said was offensive, what you said was embarrassing, what you said, and then you can refine yourself and get closer to your MS. But it only happens in a community, or it happens when you are constantly learning Torah and have a pause button.
And have a pause button. What do you? What is that? Is that what you're a reflective mirror? Is that what you're saying?
Both. You need a pause and a reflective mirror.
Listen, I have so much to say about what you just said right now, but I'm not, because I want him to say much more. But I am interested though in. Does anyone have any reaction to what Jenny just said?
That's true.
It's true?
No, well, it may be true in the mind, whether or not you hold back, but those feelings are really real. Yeah, I can relate to it. is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
But you can so easily get hijacked by your own very narrow perspective.
And be certain that that's Emet.
Because you don't have the whole picture.
See, Jenny, what you refer to as Emet was what a person feels is what the real, is something that really, a real emotion that's coming out of them. But that's not necessarily Emet at all. That could be actually the biggest Cheker in the world. But I feel it. That's not, yeah, but it, what has that gone through? Does it have anything to do with Emet? We have last week we gave a little bit of an order of how do I know that I'm actually, even on that those feelings that I have are Emet, and how do I know that I'm davening towards the Emet? Have I been able to actually have a word of truth spoken from my mouth to Hashem? That's the prerequisite. Because we have a mountain of emotions, we have no idea, without getting too much into the psychology of it, the reason why we feel so aligned with certain things can have nothing to do with what I really feel about it. It's just my programming, the world I was raised. It could be nothing, but it's what I feel. So that's the Emet. The Emet is bad. The Emet is never bad. The Emet is never really painful. It may be a heavy moment, an experience, but the Emet is actually the most freeing thing in the world. Freeing thing. It's the most liberating thing in the world. Now, there is a school of thought in modern psychology that says, go out and tell the world exactly what you think. Unleash the slave that's within you and become a real freedom fighter. But I may curse out people. Do what you got to do, right? That's not Emet. That's not Emet. Emet is shalom. Emet has a shalom at the end of it. Emet is peace. And we have to be very careful in distinguishing between the two. Emet could be dangerous, which we're going to see from another reason right now. Connects a bit to what Jess was saying before. But just because I feel something and then I even say it, doesn't mean I'm Emet, and it doesn't really mean I'm just being real. That's America. Mamash. That's America. That's not Zeloze. Yeah.
Reminds me of the podcast I just read, that our society is so into validating everything that everybody feels and says, and that it has to be correct. So then there's no boundaries, and then there's no rules, and there's no respect really, because you could walk into show wearing whatever you feel like wearing, and it doesn't matter what the dress code, so to speak, is, and people could say to adults whatever they feel like saying, and maybe we could feel something and then think of why we're feeling that, and maybe while working on why we're feeling that, we get to our Emet. So our feeling is not necessarily wrong or right, it's just something that we have to work on without telling the world what we're feeling.
What would we do without Torah? What do people do without Torah? I don't know. Huh?
We'd be America.
What do we do? Yeah, it's just that's what I'm feeling, so it must be that's the truth. Yeah.
I think I was going to add to what Jenny said, that if you're in the heat of a moment and you say something, and then 2 minutes later you look back and you regret it, then you know it's not Emet. If you had that feeling...
What if you don't regret it?
If it sits in your head, if you're thinking about it, if you're replaying that thing over and over and over and over again, then it's not sitting well. Even if you don't want to say it, it's not sitting well.
So Emet would mean that you're in
That's why
peace.
you don't press send.
Yeah.
You can move forward.
You type it 1,000,000 times, but you don't actually press send. So you're saying that, this is very good. Emet would mean that once that thing was expressed, you actually feel, even if it's something hard to say. Yeah.
You feel like a
Yeah.
hoga, shabbat.
Nachman. So most of the time, Jenny,
Even if the other person is upset, like my thing wasn't a feeling, it was an observation. A
If
very
it-
clear observation that offended someone.
right?
So I'm just saying, like, I don't know.
You're saying like this. Even if you have an emet that needs to be said, and let's say we do the way Zahava just explained it, and you're sitting with it in your head, it went through a birur, like you thought it through, and it was shared, and you don't feel, oh, I'm so happy I got rid of this. You just feel, it's a peaceful experience, post-experience, and the person that received it,
Was okay with it.
let's say they weren't okay.
It's up to them. That's their story, not my story.
Jenny, do you know why so many shuls, the structure of so many shuls have created positions for rabbis to be in jail in their mind, in their functioning? They're basically jail rabbis. Because they never are able to say something that could chas v'shalom make someone feel uncomfortable, even if it's totally their emet. You know, Baruch Hashem, I don't have that problem. So,
Right.
Didn't you say
so is
last
that
week
emet? Is that emet? If someone feels uncomfortable, and it's not l'shem, this is very important. It's not, you didn't say what you said in order to make them feel uncomfortable, but through a hanhaga of emet, that you feel afterwards, not like, oh, I'm so glad I got through it, but there's just this shalom that's in your own heart, and care and love for the person on the receiving end. You have to trust that if it's really emet, that you're going to love them even more, even if they feel uncomfortable about it and bothered by it. But a derech is a derech, emet is emet.
I'm just saying, there's a communal birur that has to happen for you to find your true emet. And it can't happen in isolation with just you and yourself, or you and the Torah. It has to be
It has to be both, actually.
a communal thing.
No. It has to be both. Because you could also hide in a communal thing and never have to figure out and discover, what about this person? Imagine there was no world and it's just me and you, Hashem. It has to be both, which is where he's supposed to do is like key. Yes.
I feel like we didn't cover other yet. I feel like last week you made a point to say this is about self. This is about self-truth. That we didn't bridge yet into the other. I don't know, am I misunderstanding? I felt like last week, because it was Bodedut, and it was
Right.
about being honest to yourself, being true to you, I didn't feel like we've covered yet you in relation to the other.
No, but that's also okay because this is where we started today.
Oh, today.
Yeah, I mean this is how the first thing we said, that when you go out and they both fall under the same category, the self and also, but some people are so big on saying my emet can only be expressed by making a statement, and that's a big danger. What about you come to an emet that there's not going to be any posts, no one's going to know about the state of emet you reached. Are you up for that? Ma'anyen otcha? Because if you're not up for that, then whatever emet you come to that has to do with out there is really shvach. It's really weak. It may be right, but it's very weak, very, very weak. The real Rebbes, the real tzaddikim and tzadkanios of the generations had to first go through inside, a very, very deep, and not just once. They have to keep on going through a very, very deep transformation, and only then have some type of an ability to say something afterwards. There was one more hand that was up. Anyone? Okay. So now let's continue. Let's see how Rav Nosson now explains this. Okay. I just have to add one thing. Sorry, this is very important. I do feel that this whole conversation is exactly the avoda and the birur of today of Am Yisrael. We for 77 years of Zionism have gotten so obsessed with letting the world know what our emet is. And it's gotten us nowhere. Comes October 7th, and I don't know, I was feeling like Hashem was saying, and it's still saying to us, let's pretend there's no world. What do you think? What is the emet? What do you think the emet is? Because you could keep on sending very dignified people to go and speak in very dignified settings. I'm not talking about the UN, I'm talking about, I said dignified setting, right? So other places, prestige, to speak on behalf of the 2,000-year-old dream, call it Zionism, wrap it up in some nationalistic whatever, and the world, proclaim to the world, what do you think inside of you? And then after that you go through such a birur that whether you say something to the world or not is irrelevant because you know what the emet is. I got very, very inspired, as many of us have been getting from every hostage that's been coming out. There's one that keeps on popping up to me. That's Segev Kalfon, who was here a month and a half ago. He was in the shul by Orot Hatzion. Huh? No, right next to Mishkan Tzipora. Yeah, he's maybe he was in Shirat Lucy, huh? Right there. And he was one of the last ones to come out. So he said that while he was in the tunnel, all the time, he came to the maskana that all he wanted to do was over and over again, say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. It's not necessary. I don't know if he comes from a religious background, but these things are so irrelevant and unimportant these days. It's unbelievable. But he had this amazing cheshek to scream out his emet, right? And after he came to this birur, that's what he wants to do in the tunnel in Gaza. He said that I think he said made a t'nai with Hashem that if he comes out, the way that previous hostages were coming out with that sick production, that sick demonic production. So he said he already accepted in his heart, he's going to go on the stage in the heart of Khan Yunis, and he's going to grab the microphone, and he doesn't care what happens to him. All he wants to do is scream Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. He had to deal with the Cheker of all Chekers and have a birur of Emet of all Emet. We should never have to go through such an Nisayon Be'ezrat Hashem to get to this recognition of Emet. But then he wanted to go and then proclaim it to the world. Ze mashu acher. First, it was an internal process taking place inside of birur Emet. But there are so many people that have truths, but their cheshek is to first share it with the world. What about first something, a talich pnimi that's going on inside? See, Jenny, most people that have that cheshek to tell someone emet, I'm willing to put my money on it, whatever money I don't have, to put my money on that they didn't really ever internally have these, beinam leben Hashem, these questions of emet. But it was always in response to what is, I have to say something to someone else. Because most of the time you come to the conclusion that you don't really need to scream your emet, you have to live it. You have to just live it. There was a famous song when I was a kid, action speaks louder than words. Do you remember that song? Action speaks, there's a famous action, like that living emet speaks so much louder than if you went around telling everyone, you know what the Emes is? You know what the Emes is? Zionism is Israel, we belong here, we belong here. Stop telling that to the world. Look what it's done. When did these Meshugayim begin freaking out, like in the world with protests? You remember what day they started? In the last round of everything? When did they start to go nuts on Am Yisrael? The protests of the world? October 8th. October 8th, probably even like Motzai, October 7th. Now, for a few more minutes, just to connect to the thing we brought up before. Now, what's a danger that can happen to us? So Rav Nosson says like this, Gimel. Lefamim yachol ha'adam lipol chas v'sholom al yidei ha'emet daika. Emes could actually drag you down. כי יודע בנפשו, כי שבאמת קלקל ופגם הרבה. Because when you start to go towards the path of Emes, you know, okay, I live today, and I'm not stuck in the past. However, the past has put some of those blemishes have put some stains on me. They've stained me to a certain extent. וגם אתה הוא כמו שהוא, and I haven't really been able to remove the stench of some of the stains that I put on myself. ועל כן, so when the other side hears this, he's like, let's make this person feel really real, in a Cheker way. ועל כן מסיתו הבעל דבר לדחוסו לגמרי חס ושלום על ידי האמס שלו. The other side, the dark side, comes in and says, yeah. Let go and be a really real person. The really real ones are very aware of what they did in their past. So get as much in tune with that as you can. If you, in the name of being Emet, in the name of being Amiti, go more and more. He gets excited when we tune into, in an unhealthy way, when we tune into the ratzon for tshuva. He gets excited. In the name of Emet, right? כמורגל זאת בפי כמה אנשים, as we've seen this by many people, והרבה יצאו מעולמם לגמרי על ידי האמס הזה. Many people have lost their minds because of this emes, because of this quest for being as real and as raw as possible. So they keep on, you find some schmutz, you realize there's more schmutz. And in the name of being real, like, I really need to indulge in this schmutz if I ever want to get out of it. But before you know it, you're about 87, you haven't tiptoed, shum davar od lo itchil, nothing even started. And you're stuck in this maze that the Yetzer puts you in the name of your journey of emet. In the name of your journey of emet. Sometimes, there are, I meet these chevra sometimes. I started a lot of cool things very young, so I saw a lot of college campuses at a young age by going and doing Shabbatons in different college campuses across the states. And once in a while, like years later, I'll meet chevra that are now, like they look a little familiar, but now they have beards and payas. They're in different yeshivas and places in Eretz Yisrael. And I know where they were holding back then, and they know where they were holding back then. And Baruch Hashem, not everyone's stuck in this, but once in a while you see people that in the name of Emet and their tshuva, they've had to completely disassociate from like half of their world, if not more. But really, even inside, you see in their eyes, they have this, they have the Baal Davar, they have the other side come and saying, until you're fully out of this one, don't pretend that you've reached anywhere. And that's all in the name of Emet, that we opened up for ourselves on a search for Emet. Rav Nosson says people have lost their minds like this. People have lost, it's like in the name of integrity, authenticity, in the name of being real ad asaf. Aval, kvar gilu lanu hatzadikei emes. The real tzaddikim revealed to us, ha'emet la'amito eino ken. Okay, this is opening up a whole world for us. There's emet, and there's emet la'amito. So what's the emet? The emet is, it's true, we do carry some heavy stuff from the past. That's true, that's emet. And to be aware, and David HaMelech even says, v'chatasi negdi tamid, that those things are in front of me all the time. But the Tzaddikei Emes says that's called emet, but it's not called emet la'amito. What's emet la'amito? How would you translate that? How would you translate truth of truths? Absolute truth. Anyone else? Emet la'amita.
Maybe is it like truth for the sake of truth?
And so what's the first thing?
Just the being real.
A fact.
Yes, like the information.
On an information level, on a factual level, that's true. But absolute truth is emet l'shem emet. Okay, so Reb Nachman is saying here, Reb Nosson is saying here, that the Emes La'amito is that those things that, yes, had a blemish on you, are not really well, I don't know how you would say it here, they're not really as dark as you think. But you have to think that it's dark in order to do tshuva. If you don't think it's that dark, it won't get you to move anywhere. On an Emet La'amito, now this is a whole world in Breslov. Emet versus Emet La'amita. There are a lot of things in life that we do, and we should be doing them on the level of Emet. And we should not be doing it on the level of Emet La'amita. There are a lot of things in life that we don't do on the level of Emet, but we should be doing it on the level of Emet La'amita. It's a big sugya which we will develop here, Bezrat Hashem. And he's going to explain over here a little bit right now. Ki tzarich kol adam litchazek atzmo b'Hashem yitbarach tamid. There's never a void moment where a person says, I don't need chizuk right now. You always need chizuk. You always have to mechazek yourself in Hashem all the time, and to fulfill the following: ulekayem bechinas im esak shamayim sham ata. If I ascend to the heavens, there you are. Like when things are going great, and parnasa's happening, and my children are matzliach, and I'm happy with my self-image, and all those things you want to add in there. And also, I'm feeling so heilig, I'm feeling so holy. I feel so good. Im esak shamayim, you're there. Sham ata. But then the pasuk continues and says, ve'atzia she'ol, and if I descend to the lowest place in the world, hineka, here you are. So this is just an important perush. I want you all to pay attention and notice here. Rav Nosson says you have to mekayim this pasuk, that in every state that you're in, it's an opportunity for more chizuk. But to give us koach right now, look at the wording that David HaMelech used. Im esak shamayim, if I fly up to the heavens, what's the word that he uses? Where's Hashem? Sham. What's Sham? There. What about when I descend to the lowest places? Ve'atzia she'ol? Here. You hear how special this is? This is the nature of man. Im esak shamayim, when I'm flying really high, I know you're there. But ve'atzia she'ol, hineka. But when I go down really low, hineka. That's emet. That's an emesdika journey. That's a journey of truth. Ve'atzia she'ol hineka. Do you understand the difference between the two? I just want to make sure we don't move on. This is very important. Im esak shamayim, when my truth is that I'm flying so high and things are so good, everything's fine. Hashem, you're there. You're there with me. But you're there with me. Ve'atzia she'ol, but I have so many averas that I remember from my past or that I'm still in right now, and all these things that disconnect me from being the real me. But I'm aware of it. Ve'atzia she'ol, I'm aware of my descent. Hashem says, and where do you think I am now? There? No. Hineka, I'm with you right there if you just let me in at that moment. If you just let me in at that moment. Maza?
That could be dangerous.
Why?
Because if you really feel the presence of Hashem, you have to go low.
No. It's a what do you call it? It's a these are not things that you can plan, or these are facts of nature almost. It's like זה יקרה בין אם אתה עושה משהו או לא עושה משהו בנידון. זה יהיה ככה.
Hineka could also just be now.
Huh?
Hineka could also just be now. Like you don't have to take it necessarily to like the lowest. Like wherever you are now.
Yeah, that's she'ol. Any step of she'ol, but the truth is not so much, because she'ol means the lowest of the low. That she'ol tachtiyot means the abyss of zeh. So you're both right. You're both emet. Yeah.
It's also like when you're at the lowest below, you get lost in yourself. Hashem really needs to be there to get you out. So it's not like it's more powerful, it's a counterbalance that needs to happen.
Yeah. And when you're in the high, Jenny, I actually want to shtickle disagree, because I think that you can get much easier lost in yourself when you're in the highest of the high. Kochi ve'otzem yadi. You actually can get completely lost when things are going so good.
Right, when it's high, you can think, look what I did. But when you're low, you can think, I'm not worthy. So I think that maybe also it's...
But you understand what I was saying? Like, You can get lost in yourself when you don't have to dig deep. You don't have to dig deep when I'm ascending up on high. You don't have to work so hard. It's true, you could also get lost in your pain and your misery. And that's why Rav Nachman is saying, just be clear. This is a perfect moment for inviting real consciousness into your life, that Hashem is right there. No, He's right here, sorry. You know what I mean? It's just a play on words, but...
When it's there, there's more work to do.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem, but it doesn't... But it's enticing as opposed to, oh my God, there's no more work to do. It's like, oh, you mean I'm not done yet? Like Rav Shlomo paraphrased this from Rav Nachman. He says, a person isn't who they are, where they are right now, because maybe we don't want to be where we are right now. A person is where they want to be. That defines a person. You are defined based on what you want and where you want to be. You're not defined based on where you actually are, because maybe we're not where we want to be. But I am where I am. People like, what is it called? I am what I eat. All these names of books, right? Which is true. I am what I daven. I am all these things, but I am who I want to be. That's actually who I really want to be. And we all want to be people of Emet. We all want to be people of Emet. We just have to be open to the notion that maybe we never discovered what that is. And there's some Bali Tshuvas in the room. And it's like, because I and many of us in the room grew up Frum, we always speak about this thing of like being under the assumption that we're close to Hashem because we're Frum, because we're religious. You could be religious your whole life and never, ever, ever even step one toe in the world of Emes. Ever. It's possible. It's the biggest threat for those of us that were raised Frum, because we did the right thing. we didn't rebel. We've been doing the right thing all the time. Now you're going to tell me at the age of 40 or 50 that I never stepped on the... It could be. It could very well be. I don't know. But again, what did Rabbi Yitzchak Breiter tell us 2 weeks ago? Once he got in touch with Rabbi Nachman's teachings, he realized he lived his whole life serving Hashem avodah zara b'tehara. I love it. I hate it and I love it. Meaning, ouch, what that dagger, it doesn't stop. That dagger I can't stop hearing it. Avodah zara b'tehara. But once you smell some emes coming in from within you, you're so happy that you discovered that you were serving avodah zara b'tehara. Now you just want to be someone that's not serving avodah zara. You want to serve avodah krova, which is the tikkun of avodah zara, not foreign worship, close worship. Okay. Yeda v'yamin, right after, she'afilu b'she'ol tachtiyot. Do you see where we are after the she'afilu b'she'ol tachtiyot? We're about 8 lines into this piece. she'afilu b'she'ol tachtiyot chas v'sholom yeda ve'amin shehu samuch adayin la'Hashem yitbarach ve'en shum yeush ba'olam. Do you know what Emes is? Emes is actually believing that ein yeush ba'olam klal. The sitra achra wants you to say, hey, listen, brother, in the name of Emet, you went too far. Don't try to be so close. Recognize that you're a felon and do time. Just stay in jail. Don't bother anybody. Don't feel like you're privileged to come and live a free life and be close to the king. You messed up. You messed up too bad, too deeply, too dark. Stay there. Be segregated. Be secluded from everyone. Reb Nachman is saying, Ein shum yeush ba'olam klal is the midah of emet. That is emet. That simple notion of there's no despair, no matter what I've done. Ve'yecholin lashuv gam misham ulitkarev l'Hashem yitbarach be'emet. The Emet and Emet La'amito means there's no avera that's big enough that could prevent me from thinking that I could be close to Hashem again. Ki bevadai, so Rav Nosson says, of course, tzrichim lishmor et atzmo min hachet. Of course we have to guard ourselves from sins. Va'afilu mipgam kolshu, and from any blemish. Aval af al pichen, but nonetheless. Afilu im nichshal kmo shenechshal. Afilu alafim ve'revevot pa'amim Chas v'shalom, even if you failed the way you failed, thousands and thousands of times, God forbid. Af al pichen bechol et varega, chasdei Hashem lo tamnu. God's chesed is endless. It never ends. It never ever ends. V'yicholin lekarev atzmo l'Hashem yitbarach bechol et umikol makom shehu. That's the level of Emet La'amito. The truth of all truths is that you can always bring yourself closer to the Ribono Shel Olam in any state that you find yourself in. Ki Ligdulato yitbarach ein Cheker. Because to his greatness has no Cheker, means you can't really... I mean, that's probably the kavanah you have every day in Ashrei, right?
Research is the original one.
But that doesn't... Chakira, but measure, meaning his greatness, you can't ever say Hashem is this loving or this kind. Ligdulato, and I can't put anything on it. And that's the Emet La'amito, that none of us could put any limits on what Hashem is able to do and what Hashem Yisbarach isn't able to do. And Rav Nosson is saying over here that when a person is open to the notion that maybe that image of Hashem that I had was a shtickle golden kafi, if there's such a thing like that. Shtickle golden kafi. What a freedom I feel when I realized I made Hashem into a little jack in the box. I did. But it's okay, because now is a new day. And now Hashem believes in me to not go to that place of putting him again into a little golden calf situation, because Ligdulato ein Cheker. Ligdulato ein Cheker. So if Hashem's chesed and greatness has no end, and we can't measure it, what does that say about my journey of emet? It means that it starts from right now. It means that regardless of anything I've done, it starts this moment. יש פה הרבה, 12 צעדים, יש פה הרבה מזה, נכון? So this is what the Rebbe is saying over here, and he ends off here saying, ועל ידי תשובה וצעקה ותפילה ותחנונים הרבה, יכול I'm so happy we're doing this in other, יכול להתהפך הכל לטובה. בבחינס עוונות נתהפכים לזכויות, like the Gemara says in Yuma, and the Rambam speaks about this in Hilchos Tshuva, וזהו העיקר האמת לאמיתו. Again, on a level of emet, did you do damage to yourself when you did an avera and when you did something that you know in your heart that probably you shouldn't have? Yes, 100%. Should you be like michutz lamachane for a few moments? Maybe yes, maybe no, I don't know. But is there anything you did that's too big for God to re-welcome you back into the mishpacha instantly? No. That concept is the sitra achra. That's the other side. So this is some stuff we have. We're going to end now. This is today's learning of the midah of emet, which a lot of things are opening up for us right now, as we could see. But I want you to understand something. This is the point of this shir. Teachings like this, how do we know if we were mechaven la matara? Do you feel more peaceful? Do you have more tranquility after discovering more angles of the midah of emet? If after learning a piece like this, you get deeper into this, oh my God, I haven't taken any advantage of anything. I've been serving avodah zarah, like all these, no. Like, that's not emet. Emet is that from this moment on, I go and I sit in my car for 2 minutes, talking to Hashem, saying, I'm chalishing to actually say one word of emet to you. I'm dying to find one word of emet inside me, coming through my voice, before you, Ribono Shel Olam. There's nothing greater. There's no more of a fulfilling feeling in our kishkas than exactly that. That's where these teachings should be leading us to on a level of asiyah. Not, let me see how emet I've been or not. It has to go back to the individual, like we learned last week, and finding that dibur of emet between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I give us a bracha that this learning, b'schus the nachal novea mekor chochma, Rebbe Nachman ben Fega, the tzaddik Emes, his student Rav Nosson, and all of the world of Breslov, that we only get more sense of shlemus inside of us, and that we believe b'emunah shlema that the statement ein shum yeush ba'olam klal is emet la'amito. It's emet la'amito. It's the truth of all truths. Next week we're going to take this, Bezrat Hashem, further and further deeper. Thank you so much, everyone.